Hello everyone! Last week we did part 2 of the story of Garrosh Hellscream, talking about his time as warchief of the Horde, escalating the war of the Alliance, and the growing discontent for the new warchief amongst the Horde. Before we continue the story, I'd like to take a moment to address something from part 2. It's about the motivation for the Mak'gora between Cairne and Garrosh. Quite a lot of you, rightfully so, commented that the hostility in Ashenvale, the attack that pushed Cairne into action, that was actually carried out by the Twilight's Hammer cult, masquerading as members of the Horde in order to stir up tension, meaning that Cairne was actually falsely accusing Garrosh when challenging to this battle. Now, this is true when we go by the story told in The Shattering, a novel released in 2010. The story back then was indeed a peaceful meeting between Tauren and Night Elf druids. This was then disturbed by the Twilight Hammer that made it look like Garrosh instigated the attack. News of this reached Cairne Bloodhoof and the duel followed. However, Chronicles Volume 3, released in 2018, it makes no mention of this. Rather, it goes to the explanation that I gave you in part 2. Garrosh setting his eyes on Ashenvale, those lands of plenty, tensions flaring up between the factions, and Cairne doing everything that he could to reason with the warchief, until he spoke the only language the orc would understand, challenging Garrosh to Mak'gora. Just wanted to clarify that. Onwards to the rest of the story. After the cataclysm and the bombing of Faramore, a new land was discovered.
I am pleased to report that the battle at sea goes well, Warchief. Our forces report decisive victories off the coasts of Daenerys and Tol Barad.
Alliance blood spills. This pleases me, General.
There's more. I've received word that our southern fleet engaged an Alliance envoy. We chased the royal flagship until it ran aground.
Aground? Where?
Apparently they found a massive, uncharted landmass, shrouded by dense mists.
And you let the Alliance get there first! Redirect the invasion fleet! General, you and your best veterans will pave our way. Storm the shore, and paint this new continent red!
And so, the eyes of Hellscream fell upon Pandaria, a land previously covered by mist, one waited to be conquered in the name of the Horde. People, resource and power. That is what the warchief desired. Unknown to both sides was that Pandaria is actually infected with something called the Sha. It feeds on negative emotions, and bringing our faction war here, it was like offering them a banquet. Problems all across the land arose. Problems that adventurers had to solve. Mix and mingle with the local Pandaren, until the warchief himself, around 2 months later, he joined them and pushed on.
Vol'jin, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be on your island kissing frogs?
The question is, what are we doing here? You bring this war to another corner of Azeroth, and I wanna know why.
Your lack of vision is why your people are still primitives, and your lack of loyalty is why I did not summon the Darkspear for this campaign. Look around you, Vol'jin. This land is rich in resources. Wood, stone, iron, fuel, and people. A show of might on these shores will make the Pandaren think twice about joining the Alliance.
All this bloodshed make everyone think twice about joining the Horde.
This is the difference between me and you, Vol'jin. I won't let my people starve to death in the desert. I will stop at nothing. Nothing to ensure a proud and glorious future for the orcs and anyone with the courage to stand with us. Wait here.
Garrosh whispers to Bloodraiser. I have no doubts that you will be able to confirm my suspicion. See how the troll reacts. If he approves, he may live. If he does not, he's a traitor. Cut his throats. And that's exactly what happened on the mission. Inside the Dark Rookery, they uncover wicked dark Mogu magics to shape flesh, to build warriors. And Vol'jin has had enough. He can't go through with this.
Garrosh playing God, making monsters. This ain't what the Horde is about.
He knew you were a traitor! Warchief reward. The Warchief will annihilate his enemies!
The troll nearly lost his life here, but were able to fight a way out. He decides to lay low for a while, discover what it means to be a horde, to be a family, and eventually return for the Darkspear Rebellion. Before that moment, we saw the Warchief abuse the Blood Elves in the search of the Divine Bell. This ancient Mogu artifact, it allowed them to empower their warriors and strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. A weapon that Garrosh very much desired. One that the Alliance was keen to keep out of his hands. And at first, it seems like they're successful, able to track it down before the Horde got their hands on it. With the aid of Jaina, now leader of the Cairne, they managed to hide the bell away, only for the Sun Reavers to be used by the Warchief and steal the mighty artifacts. Jaina finds out about this, and all hell breaks loose in Dalaran. The Purge of Dalaran they call it, but Garrosh didn't care. He got his prize, and as a bonus, the Blood Elves, who'd been thinking about leaving the Horde and rejoin the Alliance, they were now forced ever closer to Hellscream's Horde.
We Sindori will take our future into our own hands. And get this damn thing out of my sight. Hellscream bought his treasure with the blood of my people. I hope it destroys him.
My lord, you would make a fine warchief.
It may come to that. Bring me my blades. The next move is mine.
Horde heroes are invited to witness the ringing of the bell, Garrosh experimenting with its powers. But it does seem to be a bit too much for our warriors to handle. On top of that, Anduin Rin, he's been busy recovering the Harmonic Mallet, an artifact of Pandaren design to turn the chaos of the bell into perfect harmony.
Die, whelp!
The Warchief's rage crushes the bell and nearly every bone in Anduin's body, but he doesn't kill him. The prince is going to spend some time recovering, while the Alliance and the Horde, they deal with the threat of the Thunder King and realize that working together is way better than constantly trying to kill each other. Vol'jin, now healed up and a bit wiser, also makes his return, kicking off the Darkspear Rebellion. The time without their leader, it hasn't exactly been great for the Darkspear trolls. Even Goel can see that the time to clean up his mistakes has come. Together with Sourfang, who had promised to kill Garrosh if he led the Horde down a dark path, they went on ahead inside of Orgrimmar with the aid of Nazgrim. But Garrosh, he's been quite busy during his time as Warchief, and perhaps it's already too late.
It thirsts. Bring it to the pools.
You have run rampant for far too long, Hellscream. But that stops now.
Step aside, Pandaren. You confront a force beyond reckoning.
Your father dabbled in powers beyond reckoning. Where is he now? I have fought beside the Tauren, trolls, and others. You are nothing like them.
They are no longer part of my horde!
The world will hear of this. They will come for you.
Yes, I'm counting on it. The armies of the world will come for me. And within my fortress, they will face all the terrible creatures I have wrought. The boundless power I have mastered. And one by one, they will fall at my feet. Anyone who would rise against my new horde will be impaled upon the spires of Orgrimmar! You Pandaren tried to bury your hate and your anger. But such power cannot be contained. It must be unleashed!
A time will come when you will answer for your crimes.
I answer to no one! All who challenge me will burn in the fires of my hatred.
Deep beneath the land of Pandaria, they have found the heart of the old god Y'Shaarj, buried there millennia ago. Impounding it in the pool causes a massive explosion, massive devastation to the land of Pandaria. Alliance and Horde, they work together during this so-called Siege of Orgrimmar, realizing that their warchief has to be kicked out. Our raid started beneath the veil against Immersius and the Fallen Protectors. It then moved on, proving and cleansing ourselves for Nuroshen, guardian of the vault where they had found the heart. After the Shah Pride fights, a Shah released by Garrosh, we discover just how far the warchief has stepped away from the orc we knew in the past.
Look here! He left his weapon behind.
Gore howl.
This means he's completely unhinged.
News to no one, Regent Lord.
Gorhal, the blade of his father's father, replaced with Zalato, desecrated image of Gorhal. This weapon, it whispers to its wielder, which might make you wonder if by this point Garrosh was actually under the control of the old gods. But again, they have stated that he was not. Good or bad, at least his choices were his own. Choices that made some step away from him, while others they remained ever loyal, like Zayla riding atop Galagras, the last blood of Galakrons. It's the proto-drake that we defeat, while Zayla survives the encounter to fight another day. Atop the walls of Orgrimmar, General Hellscream remains ever loyal to his warchief, but the gates can't hold against the Night Elf onslaughts. With the gates fallen, we find out exactly how far Garrosh and his horde have taken this. There are furthermore citizens, presumably those evacuated before the bombing. They're found caged or used for target practice or forced to fight each other for the sake of their children.
I can't! They took my children! I'm so sorry. Please, find my babies!
Trolls are also hung up, tormented and used for target practice. At the auction house, goblins are forced to dance for the orcs' entertainment. G. Firepaw has been beaten nearly unconscious as they're trying to get information out of him on the gathered Pandaran artifacts. Even Gammon, who heroically held his ground against the Gorkron, he's been tied up.
I, Gammon, will save us.
After taking out the Dark Shamans Harum and Cardris, we join Gammon downstairs to confront Hellscream. Despite loyal orcs like Eitric and Sourfang deciding to step away from Garrosh, Hellscream cannot let go of his duties to the warchief. Fiercely loyal to the Hordes and bound by a rigorous code of honor and duty, Hellscream will hold the line for his warchief until his dying breath.
I die with honor. Look, God. Oh, God.
A more recent, but nonetheless fiercely loyal orc, that is Melkorok. When the warchief needed a volunteer to infuse with the power of Y'Shaarj, it was only natural that Melkorok would offer without hesitation. Already a force to reckon with before the infusion, he is now a massive hulking force. Beyond him, there are the spoils of Pandaria. Artifacts, weapons and treasures found in the land. Tuck the Bloodthirsty from the Isle of Giants. Siegecrafter Helix Blackfuse, the only goblin to satisfy Garrosh in his search for the engineer of the true Hordes, creating monstrous, deadly weaponry like the Iron Star. Then the Paragons of the Kluxi, the mented bug-like race ever loyal to their old god Y'Shaarj, until all were conquered and overcome, and only Warchief Garrosh Hellscream remained.
It is not too late, Garrosh. Lay down the mantle of Warchief. We can end this here, now, with no more bloodshed. Ha! Do you remember nothing of honor, of glory on a battlefield? You who would parley with the humans, who allowed warlocks to practice their dark magics right under our feet. You are weak. We are the Orcish Horde, the true Horde. We die, bloody and thrashing on the field of battle, like true orcs should. You are an orc no longer, and speak for none but yourself. You betrayed our people to forge your fragile alliances, and I will take great pleasure in tearing them apart.
Then you have forced my hand. I will correct the mistake I made long ago. Spirits of the wind, the earth, the water, hear my call! Come to my aid!
Fool! My dark shaman have twisted and tortured the elements for miles around. They cannot hear you now. Once again, you prove too weak and powerless to do anything.
Never powerless, Garrosh. And never alone.
So, you wish to face off against a real orc warchief. So be it. I, Garrosh, son of Grom, will show you what it means to be called Hellscream. Anger, hatred, fear, they are weapons of war. The tools of a warchief. Yes, I can see it now. I can see the future of this world. A world ruled by the Horde. My Horde. The heart will be your end.
While the heart of Y'Shaarj hangs above the inner chamber, occasionally empowering Garrosh further and sucking us in, his Kor'kron and Iron Stars, they race across the battlefield, coming to the aid of the Warchief.
You can never leave this place. There is no way home. The true Horde will come to pass. I have seen it. It has shown me. I have seen mountains of skulls and rivers of blood, and I will have my world!
More and more of Y'Shaarj's power is flooded into Garrosh, until it's time for him to show us a glorious destiny, the thing that he wishes for the most.
You think you have won? You are blind! I will force your eyes open! Behold! My glorious destiny!
And while he fought very hard to bring that dream of his Horde to life, the world, the other factions amongst the Hordes, they disagreed with his vision and his methods. Garrosh is kicked out of the mantle of Warchief, while the heart of Y'Shaarj is completely drained.
No! This world is my destiny. My destiny.
You disappoint me, Garrosh. You are not worthy of your father's legacy.
His punishment is not for you alone to decide.
I won't let you take him.
We have all suffered from his atrocities. My people, more than any other. Let him stand trial in Pandaria. There, we will mete out justice for all.
go well would not have someone else take the killing blow. So rather than just killing our enemy on the spot, a trial it shall be. Now, I was planning to finish up the story of Garrosh in 3 parts, but turns out that there's much more to talk about, so we're going to leave it at this spot for today. Garrosh is placed in prison, awaiting his trial. Vol'jin steps up as the new warchief, while the Alliance, they agree to turn away and try to go for peace again.
If your Horde fails to uphold honor, as Garrosh did, we will end you.
The actions by this uncorrupted warchief, they would echo on through the faction for many years to come, but perhaps history can be rewritten.
What if it were possible to shape and mold time as you would a ball of clay? What possibilities await? What new worlds could we create?
Again, we'll save that part for next week. So for now, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya!